Bahubali ji.
Okay. Should I read last time, Prabhaji? I was kind of driving and also I couldn't read, so I can volunteer
Sure.
this time.
1 second, it's almost coming up here. Let's start with the program.
Prabhaji, I'm checking on the site here. It's not showing Gandhar Mulyankan. Only assignments, LCPA, and 3 exams.
I'll come again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amitji, I had requested if you could extend the date for LCPA.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can do. If Prabhaji
Yeah.
is fine, I can do.
yeah, that's okay, but I don't know. There are nowadays they're going to be doing some things automatic. Like in my morning class, a lot of people had problems. They changed something, people had to upload again, and they took off marks automatically.
And it shows me your late submission allowed only till Saturday, 25th July.
So then,
Arunji, that comes from the central team.
so the central team will obviously override whatever,
Correct.
नमो हरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जायाणं नमो लोये सवसाहूणं. Jai Jinendra, everybody. So we're going to send the start with Ayu Karma. Anuchi will start reading. But let's quickly, somebody can revise what did we learn with the Shanmoni, and then we already did Antray and Vedmi also, right? So what are the miseries with those karmas? See, the purpose of learning this is to, whatever I keep telling you guys, are to make it your own, which means you have to, you don't need to repeat what's in the book, but you should have a sense of what you study. Like that these, see who, when you say karma, right? Karma ka uday. Who did the karma? Self-inflicted.
We self, yeah.
Right? Self-inflicted, that Vipinji used that word swakiya karma, right? So, so we have to always keep that in mind. Otherwise, what happens is you get this tendency that, oh, karma also, oh, I cannot help it in the Tibra Uday of karma, which is true. In the Tibra Uday, you will not be able to help certain situations. Still, you should understand that these karmas were done by you only. So there's nothing to feel like, oh, it's beyond my hands, it's my karma. No, still, no, the responsibility is yours. So what they're saying is, so when in the effect of moha, when we are not conscious, then we bind all these karmas. So now when they come into fruition, what kind of unfavorable circumstances they give. So fine, that also we cannot help. Whatever karmas are done, and we'll get those unfavorable circumstances. When we are aware of that, oh, abhi ye mere ज्ञानावरणीय के उदय में हो रहा है, या अभी असाता के उदय में हो रहा है. असाता के उदय में whether you are ill, whether you are somebody says something to you, all those things fall into asata. So then you should not, your reaction changes when you're more aware of it. So it is important to realize, so whenever you get a situation, at least classify, okay, it is in uday of this karma. I'm feeling sad right now, depressed, irritated, overwhelmed, whatever the case may be, right? Also, those are a lot of them you may not be able to help. Some you may be able to observe that, yes, it is reducing compared to how much bothered I used to be. So you will find out in a lot of situations, you can only be Gyata Krishna. You can only observe what changes are coming to you. You may or may not be able to change how you react or maybe react even sometimes you can control, but how you feel about things, you may not be able to change that. But you can remain the knower of it. Oh, this situation happens. Oh, there is 6 things in my life, so I'm just feeling overwhelmed. Or I'm feeling, but who is feeling it? Even that is not me. Who am I? I'm that swabhav person. So this person who is feeling irritated, who is feeling overwhelmed, who is feeling angry, I can be away from it and observe that this is what is happening. And that reminder that this knowledge should help you remind every moment of your life. So for example, you're upset about somebody hitting your car. Let's say you had an accident, right? And it was not your fault. Brand new car. Somebody comes right on and boom, messes up your front, whatever. And all of a sudden, you're so upset about, with that person or whatever the case may be. So then you start getting busy. Which karma ka udaya this is? And it
Vedaniya.
right?
Asata Vedaniya.
That person is the nimitta. Asata ka uday ana tha. Somebody hit my car and now I'm feeling asata. Obviously, you're getting either whether he's angry, whether sad, whether overwhelmed. Ki abhi, even if his insurance pays all the work you have to do, take the car for repair, blah, 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 whatever that case may be. So then also you think, Swakiya karma. So I must have given some asata to somebody, either in this life, previous life, whenever. It's just come back to me. So not that your misery will be, it could be reduced a little bit with that. May or may not be. But even if it is not, you will be able to become an observer of it. And that is the key thing, to become the observer. And the knowledge should help you do that. Okay, so let's read the Ayu Karma.
Yeah. Misery caused by rise of Ayu Karma and release from it. Holding life in the form of a particular embodied state owing to rise of Ayu Karma, life Karma is aliveness, and end of that embodied state is death. Due to perverse faith, etc., this Jeev experiences and believes the embodied form of existence, Paryay, only as to be the self. Therefore, he believes his existence on being in embodied form and believes his non existence on death. Only due to this reason, he always remains fearful of death. And due to that fear, the anxiety persists. He is very much afraid of those causes which he knows to be the cause of death. He becomes highly upset if by chance he comes in their contact. In this way, he remains very much unhappy. The means that he adopts is that he keeps the causes of death away from him or himself runs away from them. And he takes medicines, etc., builds fort, boundary wall, adopts such various means. So all these means are false because on exhaustion of Ayu Karma, although he makes various efforts and many others may be helpful, nevertheless death is certain. He does not survive even for a moment. And as long as Ayu, life karma, is not exhausted, till then, even if various causes are met with, death does not occur. Therefore, death cannot be avoided by any means. The duration of Ayu, life, ends without fail. Therefore, death is also bound to occur. Death also is bound to occur. Hence, making efforts for this is totally false. What is then the right means? When the belief of I-ness in the embodied state, or I, is uprooted on attainment of right belief, etc., and by believing himself to be an eternal sentient substance, Chaitanya Dravya, he develops I-ness feeling in self-soul and knows present embodied state to be merely a disguise. Then the fear of death disappears. Moreover, when through right belief, etc., one attains the highest stage of Siddhahood, disembodied omniscient, then the death ends forever. Hence, the right belief, etc., are only the right means.
Okay. So we see this all the time, right? Ayu karma is determined when?
They say somewhere around two-thirds of your life or something.
Right. But as far as this life is concerned, we are born with our expiry dates. Just like products made, they stamp expiry date. Our expiry date was stamped the moment we were born, right? So we know that is inevitable. Yet, what they're saying, everybody wants to make an effort to not. So, how non-fruitful it is, knowing that that is inevitable, yet we continue to do that. And we have seen, we discussed that Ahmedabad thing, this guy, everybody else was supposed to die. Their Ayu Karma had come to end. This one guy just walked on the wing, right? So, or if the war is going on right now, right? So the war is going on. What is the big fear about? Right? With all the bombings, death, right? Death is the one of the very big fear. एक 7 भय होते हैं हमारे शास्त्रों में, उसमें मरण का भय is right? So that fear would not exist if you understood that I have come with my Ayu Karma. Nobody can take that away from me. Whatever my karma, how much I'm supposed to live is going to happen no matter what. I remember when my real brother went through cancer. It's not like you're not going to try, right? Regardless, even if you knew it was malignant and everything. But in the back of the mind, I always had that we're going to make all the efforts necessary, yet whatever his lifespan is what is going to be. So that gave you that consolation of if some treatment did not work out, or if some did, you were not surprised. Some Ayurveda treatment made him more comfortable. And like, I remember after a year and a half, like his wife said, "Oh, Didi, whatever this Ayurveda you tried, it seems to be working and he seems to be getting better." Even then, in my mind was what? I really don't know. Whatever his Ayu is all he's going to get. If he has a longer Ayu, it will work for him, even if it didn't work for anybody else, and vice versa. There were so many treatments that we did. We had people who said it worked for them and cured them. It didn't work for him. So our expectations change. And if expectations change, we are not as hurt when things don't work out. So we continuously prepare ourselves in the back of our minds. Yes, I'm making an effort. It will only work if my Ayu Karma is there. Otherwise, you make all the effort. Whenever nothing works out, you feel very
mean, it's like whenever such things happen, oh, usko hua tha, uska to theek ho gaya, how come mine didn't? A lot of those kind of questions come to you. So, and then the best thing is what? If I don't even attach myself to Ayuka, that was not me to begin with. So it was like that, what do you call it? Ram in the Ramayana or Sita in the Ramayana, just playing a role. We all are just playing a role here. This is not us. So we are playing a role. When our role is finished, you're out of the stage. If you took life that way every single day, then one of these days the role is going to be over. And you will get this sense that it's not me. Right? That last paragraph is very profound. That when the belief of I-ness is in this paryaya, that is where all the suffering is. When the I-ness is in the real you, then the suffering ends. The real you is Chaitanya Dravya. And then you feel like, okay, this was a temporary, somebody playing a role. और उसमें हिंदी में उसको स्वांग लिखा है. You know what is swang? Swang is पुराने जमाने में वो नटनी के खेल होती. If somebody dressed up like somebody and came, that is what was called swang, and which is what it is. The soul is embodied into something, right? So, through this right belief, one attains the siddhahood. And at which point, then there is no birth or death. So that is when you really get rid of that misery of ayuka. Until then, it stays. Okay, any questions on this? Otherwise, we'll move now.
I think we can move on. Okay, misery caused by rise of name karm and release from it. Due to the rise of nam karm, physic making karm, gati, state of existence, jati, class or group of alike beings, and body, etc., are created. Out of them, those which are created owing to rise of punya, virtue, act as the cause of pleasure, and those which are created owing to rise of pap, vice, act as the cause of misery. So it is a fallacy to believe happiness in these conditions. And this mundane being tries to make effort of removing the cause of misery and getting the cause of happiness. So this effort is false. The real means is right belief, etc. In this context, for details, one should refer to the description given earlier under Vedaniya Karma. Because of similarity of causation of happiness and misery between Vedaniya and Nam Karma, the description of the effectiveness should be known to be similar.
So
Misery,
now, even though it has given very like a short paragraph here, but Nam Karma is very big. What do you get with Nam Karma?
Your body, your health, everything
Everything,
related
right?
to it.
Everything related to the body.
Yeah.
So, so let's say you are born in a Harijan. So now what? Or you're born as a dark skin, light skin, short, fat, thin, all that is Namka, right? So thinking of oneself as beautiful if they are fair, or not so beautiful if they are dark,
or short or whatever the social at that time, they all change, of course. In relation to that is the cause of misery. And that is our own Brahm, false belief that this looks good or that looks good. There is no such thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if dark skin didn't look good, then what about beauty pageants in Africa? Obviously, there are beautiful women there. So, so, but the mundane souls still bring about a lot of misery for themselves. Nobody thinks they're perfect. Everybody wants to change their body somehow. If they're slightly on the darker side, they want to become fair. If they're too fair, they want to tan. If they're fat, they want to become thin. If they're thin, they want to become fat, right? We don't understand that whatever naam karma we, what do you call, swakiya karma, we bound, that is what is going to come to the. So it should not become a reason for pleasure or pain. So if somebody thinks you're very handsome or beautiful, if you thought yourself as a soul, which has what good? A guru lagu, neither big nor small, you would not feel that sense of pride. So the real happiness will come only once your belief system changes. Now let's go to Gotra Karma.
Misery caused by rise of Gotra Karma and release from it. Owing to the rise of Gotra Karma, high and low status determining karma, one gets birth in high or low family. There, on getting birth in family of high status, one considers himself to be high, and on getting birth in a family of low status, considers himself to be low. Since he does not know the means of change of birth in high or low family, he feels oneness with the family status obtained by him. But to consider oneself high or low with regard to the family status is fallacy. If someone of high family status indulges in mean activity, then he becomes low. And if someone belonging to low family status indulges in commendable activity, then he becomes high. Owing to greed, passion, etc., many people belonging to high family status start doing the service of the people belonging to low family status. After all, how long does the family status exist? On termination of embodied form, the family status also changes. Hence, considering oneself high or low by birth in family of high-low status, the person of high status family is afraid of becoming low, and one belonging to low status family is unhappy due to the lowness of the status obtained by him. By attainment of right belief, etc., not believing happiness, unhappiness to arise due to high or low status is the right means. And by the same means, he attains such a supreme and the highest state of Siddh, which never changes. Then all miseries end and he becomes perfectly blissful. Thus, from the point of view of the rise of karmas, owing to the instrumentality of wrong belief, etc., only miseries and miseries alone are found in the world. Miseries from embodied modification point of view. Now, the same miseries are further described from the embodied modifications point of view. the miseries of one-sensed beings. In this
So-
universe,
Okay, wait. So in this, what they're saying is Gotra karma related miseries, right? In India, we saw this. So Nam karma related miseries, the black-white difference in America, right? The blacks were treated as slaves, and even till now, some people have that prejudice. And so that was because of the Nam karma. In India, we have the Harijan system, right? The whatever they call them, scheduled caste or whatever. So first, it created misery for them because they were considered untouchables. People wouldn't give them the rights to do what everybody else was doing and all that. Now, other people are miserable because the scheduled caste are getting all the jobs and the admissions to colleges without really being deserving.
Yeah.
So now the ones that are not scheduled caste are unhappy. So this high and low status can never really give happiness. Okay. And again, it goes back to, when we did all the Atma ke that art gun, right? Bit of each of the karmas, then you will understand that how that is. Now this is again when you're embodied into one sense, and like that, they're giving more details how much misery there is. If you ever think that, oh, I would be fine if I was in animal kingdom, or a lot of people have these wild thoughts. Oh, it would be so nice if I could be a bird, I could fly around and all things. So this is giving you that.
the miseries of one-sensed beings in this universe most of the time is spent in one-sensed embodied modifications only. Therefore, assuredly, from the beginningless time, jivas are found living in the Nitya Nigodh state, and getting out from there is like jumping out of a gram or a grain from the baking cauldron. Thus, after coming out from there, the jiva attains other embodied modification. There, in Traspariyai, mobile beings having two or more senses, the jiva lives for a very short duration. Most of the time is spent in one sensed embodied form. There, in Itar Nigodh, he lives for a very long period, and for quite some times he lives in earth, water, fire, air, and gross vegetables bodies. After getting out from Nitya Nigodh, the maximum period of living in Tras, mobile beings, bodies is 2000 and little more sagars only, and maximum period of living in one sense being is innumerable Pudgal Paravartans only. And the period of one Pudgal Paravartan itself is such that in infinitesimal part of it, infinite sagars are found. So mainly the period of this mundane being is passed in one sense bodies only. Therefore, in one sense, beings, the manifestation of power of knowledge and perception is found in extremely poor measure. Those one sensed beings know and see only a little bit of cold and heat, etc., through mati gyan, sensory knowledge, produced by the instrumentality of touch, sense, and through shrutta gyan, the knowledge derived through mati gyan, and through non-ocular perception pertaining to touch sense. Owing to the intense rise of knowledge obscuring and perception obscuring karmas, the manifestation of knowledge and perception is not found more than this. But the desire of enjoying the objects is found, due to which they are extremely miserable. And owing to the rise of darshan moh, faith deluding karma, perverse belief is found, due to which they believe the embodied modification only to be the self. They possess no other thinking power. Further, due to rise of charitra moh, conduct deluding karma, they are found imbued with intense anger, passion, etc. for the omniscient Lord. For the omniscient Lord has revealed that they only possess black, blue, and grey type of three inauspicious lascias, thought complexion, and those are found only during the rise of intense passions. There, in that state of existence, the passions are more, but the manifested power is extremely poor in all respects. Therefore, they are experiencing extreme misery, but there is a no-go.
Do you
Question.
understand? So a lot of times we think that how can they feel like they don't have, it's only one sense, right? So there is no man, we always relate it to the feeling with the man, mind, pain, this, that. They don't have any of that. Oh, they only have sense of touch. But so so to our perception, it's not trivial, but Kevali knowledge sees that their lascias are always the extreme ones, like the high intensity passions, like a lot of anger, a lot of misery. So, so basically, even though they have limited knowledge, they experience a lot of pain and misery, and they cannot do anything about it. They cannot even protect themselves like trees, right? It can be stormy, rainy. They just have to tolerate. They don't have a way to go anywhere. That doesn't mean they don't feel. They do have a sense, one sense, the sense of touch. Okay, continue. Since their knowledge is extremely
Question. Since their knowledge is extremely poor, rather negligible, how do they indulge in passions? Answer. There is no such rule that the degree of passion should be in accordance with the knowledge. The power of knowledge is found in accordance with Shayoksham. For example, a blind and a deaf person possessing less power of knowledge is found having more passion. Similarly, it is agreed to that the one sense being have a very less power of knowledge can have high degree of passion. Further, the external passion gets exhibited then only when one exerts according to one's internal passion. But they are strengthless. Therefore, they cannot make any effort due to this. Their passion is not visible. For example, some person is weak and due to some reason he has intense passion but cannot do anything. So his passion is not visible outwardly, but he feels very unhappy. Similarly, the one sense beings are powerless. Due to some reason, they have passion but cannot do anything. So their passion is not visible outwardly and they themselves become miserable. It is to be known that whenever the passion is more and the strength is less, the anguish is more, and gradually, as the passion diminishes and strength increases, then accordingly the anguish, passion, and less strength. The anguish goes on lessening by any by, but the one sense beings have more passion and less strength. Therefore, one sense beings are extremely miserable. They alone experience their misery, and the omniscient knows it. For instance, the knowledge of a hysteric patient gets lessened, and due to external physical weakness, right, he may also not be able to express his sufferings. But he is extremely distressed. Similarly, the knowledge possessed by one sense beings is less, and due to weak external strength, they cannot express their anguish, but experience different extreme anguish. And due to intense rise of antaray karma, the desired objectives of do not materialize much. On account of this also, they are extremely distressed. Further, in Aghati karmas, the rise of Pap Prakriti wise karmas is predominant. There, on getting the rise of Asata Vedanya, they feel extremely miserable owing to its instrumentality. The vegetables are broken by wind pressure, get dried by cold and heat, are also dried in want of water, are burnt by fire. Someone pierces them, cuts them, crushes them, eats them, breaks them. Such various conditions are found. Similarly, the one sense earth beings, etc., undergo all such possible conditions. Because of persistence of all those conditions, they feel extremely distressed. A pain is caused in human body, as pain is caused in human body on facing above stated conditions. Similarly, one sense beings also experience pain. Since knowledge of these conditions is caused through touch sense and they do possess touch sense, knowing them through it, if they feel extremely distressed, being overpowered by delusion, but they do not have strength of feeling, fighting, or of crying. That is why the ignorant people not know their miseries, and by chance a little rise of sata may be found, but it is not strong. Further, owing to ayukarm, in these one sense beings, those who are aparyaptas, the duration of their life, paryay, is only 1/18th part of the time of one respiration, and that of paryaptas, the life duration is found varying from one ananta muhurt to many years, there being very short span of age curve. The birth and death continues incessantly, and owing to this, they always remain miserable. In Namkarm, the rise of Tiryanchagati, etc., inauspicious prakritis only is particularly found. Even if some weak auspicious prakriti may come to rise, if it is not strong, therefore, in their existence also they remain miserable due to the influence of moh. In Gotra Karma, only the rise of low status determining karma exists. Therefore, they do not get respectability, and as such, they are unhappy only. In this way, the one sense beings are extremely miserable. As in this world, the stone having some base remains giving for a long time. But in the baseless space, it rarely remains for a very short duration. Similarly, Jeev remains in the state of one sensed being for a very long duration. But in other forms of existence, he sometimes remains for a very short duration. Therefore, the Jeev is extremely miserable in the world.
So you understand, I mean, now when we read some of this, you wonder when you're chopping vegetables and all that, and it gives you that sense of little bit of a compassion that, oh my God, that these vegetables also have the sense of touch, they have a feeling. So you should be very careful in that also. And you don't want to go in that gati if possible, right? Because the miseries are a lot. Nidhi ji, you want to read now? Nidhi ji? Okay. अरुण जी आप पढ़िए फिर वो पढ़ लेंगे.
Miseries of mobile incomplete sense souls, and irrational five sense beings. In the two sensed, three sensed, four sensed, and irrational five sense forms of bodies, also, this jiva experiences miseries similar to those experienced by one sense beings. The only difference is that here the jiva obtains successively increased knowledge, perception, and energy related to each sense and attains the power of speaking and moving. Here also the jivas are aparyaps, and even those who are paryaps, possessing weak strength and are smaller beings, all these do not possess much power. And there are many paryap jivas also possessing a lot of strength and are big in size. They possess some power, therefore they try for getting the objects of senses and try for getting rid of miseries. Out of anger, etc., they indulge in the acts of biting, killing, fighting, deceiving, hoarding grains, etc., fleeing, etc. They wiggle and cry out of pain. So their sorrow is somewhat visible also. Thus, the worms, ants, etc., jeeves are seen extremely miserable due to cold, heat, severing, piercing, etc., and hunger, thirst, etc. One should think over their miseries, which are clearly seen. What more to describe here? Thus, the two sense beings also should be known as extremely miserable. Miseries of rational five sense beings. Miseries of infernal state of existence. In the rational five sense beings, the inhabitants of hell are extremely distressed in all respects. They have somewhat power of knowledge, but the desire of the objects of senses is too much, and they do not get even little bit material of favorite objects. Therefore, possession of that power of knowledge, etc., is also cause of great misery. Extreme severity of anger, etc., passion is found in them because they possess black lacia, that is, inauspicious thought coloration only. The act of causing misery to one another is found there continuously due to wrath and pride. If they establish friendship with one another, then the suffering may end. Moreover, by causing pain to others, none of their purpose is served. But vehemency of anger and pride is found more in them, because of which they have tendency of causing only misery to one another by means of vikriya, transformation. They make limbs in the body for causing pain to others, and also make weapons by which they cause affliction to others, and others cause affliction to them. The passion never subsides, and the agreeable material is and the vehemency of deceit and greed passion is also more in them. But no agreeable material is available there. Hence, they cannot exhibit acts of those passions. Because of those passions, they are extremely afflicted internally, and sometimes by chance, some object of those passions is also materialized due to some reason. Further indulgence in laughter and liking, that is, quasi passions, is also there, but in the absence of external causes, their action is not visible. Rarely, on account of some reason, those become visible. And the external causes of disliking, sorrow, fear, disgust, quasi passions are found. Therefore, those passions are intensely manifested. And in sex passions, only neuter sex passion is found in them. So sex desire is great, and the facility of copulation with women and men is not available there. Therefore, they are extremely anguished. In this way, they are extremely miserable because of passions. Moreover, in Vedniya karma, there exists only the rise of asata, unpleasant feeling producing karma, due to which there exist the causes of various types of agonies. In the body, different diseases like leprosy, cough, asthma, etc., are found together, and hunger, thirst are so intense that they want to eat and drink everything, and food is available only of clay of that region. And that clay is also of such kind that if it comes here on this earth, then due to its bad smell, human beings of many miles will die. And cold and heat is such that if there is a round of iron having a diameter of 1 lakh yojan, approximately 8 lakh miles, it will also turn into ashes. At some places there is cold, and at some places there is heat. Further, the land there is full of thorns, sharper than even the weapons. The forests in that land are full of leaves like the edges of weapons. The river is full of such kind of water that on getting its touch, the body will split into pieces. The wind is so strong that due to it, the body gets scorched, and the infernal beings cause agony in different ways to one another. That is, crush in the oil press, cut into pieces, parch into big pots, beat with whips, touch red hot iron bars, etc. And thus, in many ways, they torment one another. The Asur Kumar Devas, malevolent celestial beings, go up to third infernal region. They themselves cause pain and make them to fight with each other. In spite of such agony, severance of the body is not possible. Even on getting cut into pieces, it rejoins just like mercury. Such extreme agony is there. Further, no object of sata is there. By chance, if some measure to someone as per his belief, from some point of view, the rise of sata is found, but it is not powerful. There, the ayu is very long. The minimum lifetime is 10,000 years, and maximum lifetime is 33 sagas. For such a long period, one has to bear such kind of sufferings. The rise of only all inauspicious pap prakritis of name karma is found there. Not a single auspicious punya prakriti is found in operative state. Due to those pap prakritis, they are extremely distressed. And in Gotra karma, there exists the rise of niche Gotra, low status karma. Only due to that, they do not get respectability. So also they are extremely miserable only. In this way, one should know that in the infernal state of existence, there are extreme agonies only.
So you understand that this is what are we reading? Which gati? Who?
Naragati.
Naragrati, Harish.
A lot of already studied. Where else did we study that?
Cheda.
Cheda.
This is little more detailed compared to what we studied in Chennai. So it gives you a sense of, even with the five sense beings, where you are, there is so much misery. And, a lot of it is reading is just self-explanatory. But what is important again is what? No matter where you end up, of course, you will end up in Narak, Swarg, wherever, depending on your karmas. But the skill to learn is only one, is to separate yourself from wherever you are, whether you think it is a very good life, whether you think it is a bad life. Because this will keep on happening, right? Just because you are in Swarg doesn't mean you're going to not be thrown into Narak. And if you're in human form, like people say here, oh, yahin pe Swarg, yahin pe Narak. Why do people say that? Because they are experiencing these miserable situations as well as some favorable situations. So, we can only compare with our current human life. So, in that comparison, they say lifespan is very, very long for the Narak. And same for the Swarg. But here, even the lifespan is so short, still we get to experience so many variations of miseries and some situations.
Prabhaji, in Naragati, they have a body, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does the birth take place? I mean, you just get dumped like as an adult, or?
Swarg and Narak, there is no womb, there is no birth. So the soul comes, so bodies already formed and the soul just takes less. In Swarg, they just always are just prakat hote, jisko bolte hain, in youth form. In heaven, there is no, the body is such that it cannot be sick, it cannot have a lot of the things that we in the human form have. They are born as a young person and they remain that way for the whole entire time that they live there. Their
What
existence.
about Narak?
Opposite. They are born in this deformed state or whatever they explained here, and they remain that way the whole time. Even though they have Vikriya powers, but they use it like the heaven people, they use it to do good things. The hell people, they use that Vikriya power to do the bad things to hurt.
What is a Vikriya power?
Means they can change their body a little bit. So you see how they said that with the Vikriya, they can transform like their limbs, but like they will make it such that it becomes like a weapon to hurt somebody.
So is it possible during Naragati to focus on soul?
Okay. So one way is if you went with Traik Samyaktva, which Shrenik Raja did. Another is if this strong conviction is there in this life that I am the soul, yet you were not able to reach to the point of experience, which means it is not Nishchay, true Samyak Darshan. You can be reminded of that in Narak, even though you're going through all the miserable times, and get Samyak Darshan in Narak also. And once you have Samyak Darshan there, you're not, things won't change in the sense that you will still be hurting others, because that is what you get with the gati. So those things will happen, yet you will not be as miserable because you will realize this is all drama going on. That's not me.
So is it possible to keep that state of mind with all that pain and suffering?
And not that they don't experience the pain, they do. But still, that back of the mind mindset that this is not me.
But they still continue to do what they're doing there.
So that's the uday.
So what they're doing there is basically, so I mean, it looks like they're doing more pop in Narak, right? So is that not a vicious cycle that they'll never come out of the Narak?
What we are saying, it is a vicious cycle. So you end up in Narak, you do more pop, and then you end somewhere else. I mean, that's why you don't go from Narak to Swarg and Swarg to Narak. You always have to come in Tiryanch or human in between. Only in human life you can do so much punya or pap, where you can go directly to hell or heaven possibly. So doing punya is not that great, because so what? You did punya, you'll end up in heaven. But then what next? You also had done all those pap. So now you're remaining with those things, and
So even Mahavir Bhagwan is supposed to have been in Narak at some point in time, right? So how did he come out of it, let's say, for example?
with the self-realization. That's the only way. So there is, of course, separate stories in Shwetambar Parampara. They say he got Samyak Darshan in Naisar Bhav. In Digambar Parampara, they say he got Samyak Darshan in the Lion Bhav. So that story says that he was a lion, and of course he had some background over the lives. But then, in the middle of tearing a deer and eating, and these two sadhus come from Akash Marg, and they remind him who you are. And that gives him the realization that, oh my God, I'm the soul, I'm not this Tiryanch who is eating the deer. And he just pauses there and stopped eating or anything. And he gets his Samyak Darshan. So Samyak Darshan can be very easy, quick. It's just a matter of getting that flip of a switch. उसके पहले की तैयारी, of course, is needed. So let's say, a lot of people have this thinking that, oh, we're doing all this time in Swadhyay classes, whatever we are doing. Even Pandits sometimes have this question, कि इतना सब time करके भी हमें अभी तक सम्यक दर्शन तो नहीं. Samyak Darshan or moksha is not something to wish for. It's just a state of your own soul, right? So nahi bhi hua, so what? You don't desire any of that. Your goal is to imbibe within yourself that you are the soul.
Nothing should be able to move that from you. And in which situation, even if you have a firm conviction in this life, even if you don't get Samik Darshan in this life, you'll get it in the next. And you can get Samik Darshan in all four gatis. Hell, heaven, Tiryanj. Of course, you have to be five sensed, but still, you can. And most of the Swadhyayis or people who have even the little bit of interest in knowing themselves will end up in one of those gatis where you can get Samik Darshan.
But why do you need to be 5 cents and for to get some English?
Because you will need that contemplation power. That can only happen if you have the mind.
Right.
So that is the biggest art, if we can learn, is to distance ourselves from this embodied, self. So, and actually, for us, with watching these movies, should be very easy to relate to it. That you're just playing a role, and there is this real you, who, if you can associate with all the time. So Nidhi ji, are you back? You want to read? Took a break, looks like we were calling you. आप पढ़ सकते हो? We are on page 91. Yeah,
You're on mute if you're talking.
I think our thing froze up. So,
or maybe
yeah. Should I continue then?
you can continue for now. I think maybe she doesn't have a good internet connection
Okay.
until she comes back.
Miseries of Tiryanchgati animals. In Tiryanchgati, many jeeves are labdhi aparyapt, undeveloped beings. Their ayu is only 1/18th part of the time of one respiration. And many paryapts, developed beings, also are of very small size. But their power is not visibly seen, manifested. Their miseries are known are to be known like that of one sense beings. Knowledge, etc., are somewhat more, and many big size perhaps beings are spontaneously born beings. Many are of uterus birth, in them the knowledge, etc., are found manifested, but they are found agitated by desire of objects. Among them, many jeeves do not get favorable objects. Someone really gets a few objects. Owing to perverse faith, they are assuredly having fallacy in tattvas, and passion is chiefly found of intense type. Due to anger and pride, they fight, eat, and cause pain to one another. Due to deceit and greed, they indulge in deceitful acts and desire objects. They indulge in acts of those passions through laughter, etc. Rarely someone is found having feeble passions. But this happens to only a few jeeves. Hence, its predominance is not there. In Vedaniya karma, there is chiefly the rise of asatha, due to which disease, anguish, hunger, thirst, piercing, severing, carrying too much load, cold, heat, maiming, etc. conditions are caused, because of which they are clearly seen afflicted. Therefore, much is not described here. Rarely someone meets with the rise of somewhat sata also, but it is limited to a few jeeves only. It is not predominant, and the ayu is found from one antar muhurat, less than 48 minutes, up to crores of years. Therefore, most of the jeeves possess only a very short span of life, and hence they suffer from pangs of birth and death. And the jivas of enjoyment land, Bhog Bhumi, have greater span of life, and they have the rise of sata, karma causing pleasure, also, but those jeeves are limited in number. Moreover, mostly there is found the rise of Tiryanchgati, etc., inauspicious pap prakritis of name karma. Rarely someone meets with the rise of a few auspicious Punya Prakritis also, but it is found in lesser measures to some jivas. It is not predominant. And in Gotra Karma, rise of low status determining karma is found, so they are suffering from lowness. Thus, there is extreme misery in Tiryanchkati animals.
Mhm. So you see how all the, and no matter which gati you go, there are so many descriptions. I mean, these are a little more than Chair but I'm sure there are books that can go even in further details of these mysteries of different gatis.
What
And
exactly is Bhog Bhumi, Prabhaji?
so Bhog Bhumi is still part of the Madhya Lok, uh, and they are like humans, but there it's like just everything positive is happening. They don't need to work towards getting their food, getting their, if they just wish for clothes, there appears clothes. If they wish for food, there appears food. They are born as twins and they die as twins. So that sorrow is not there, where you one of the spouses dies and now you're miserable. They give birth to twins and then they die. So it's basically you are there to uh, consume all your good punya karma.
Yeah, Kalpavriksha.
Yeah. So basically, it's just everything positive happening there. That's what they call it, enjoyment life, land, or whatever it is. So, and it then also you live in that good state for a long time, and no illness, whatever good I guess one can assume. So. So that is why they say that don't wish for, कई लोग कहते हैं मेरे को पुण्य करना है पुण्य करना है. What are you going to get? You will get maybe Bhog Mubi, Swarg, or one of these things, but that is still not ultimate happiness. In fact, in the morning class, somebody put, even though it's Gita Gyan, it doesn't matter because it's similar to what we also learned. I'll share with you guys. And it talks about you know how people wish for moksha. So that is also not something to be wished for. So I just share with you guys. Anyway,
Because that's also an attachment. That's also a rag.
desires can never give you happiness, right? So in that particular, somebody who shared, it has to do with Gita, when Krishna told Arjun to fight the war and do his duty or whatever it was. You may not have a very good connection, Nidhi. I don't know if you have some
Video.
which is making
No,
you look.
something is wrong with my video. I'll log in through my phone.
No worries, it's fine. Take your time. When you're ready to read, let us know. Until
You can
then,
turn off the video and read, I guess. I don't know.
what's
That-
that?
her voice is coming through clear.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to.
Okay.
I'll read.
You can
Yeah.
read if you.
And
That's
Nidhi, your
Yes.
video is not coming clear. So if you want to switch off and that helps your voice, that also.
I have
Oh, now
I've
we
logged
can see.
in. Mm. There are
Okay.
now I have logged in through my phone. Now there won't
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
problem.
Yes, go ahead.
Miseries of human state of existence. In the human state of existence, innumerable jivas are lepti aparyaptas, undeveloped souls. Those are all are samur chanas, spontaneously generated. Their span of life, that is age, is just 1/18th part of the time of one respiration. And many of the jivas, after coming into mother's womb, die in a very short period. Their potentiality does not get manifested. Their miseries are to be known similar to those of one sensed beings, and other specialities are also found which are to be known accordingly. The beings of uterine birth are born after living for some period in the womb. Their miseries have been described earlier from the karmic bondage point of view. All that description is possible for human beings of uterine birth, or it should be known similar to that of Tiryanchas as described earlier. The special point is this that here in human beings, some particular power is found. The kings, etc., have more rise of Sata karma, and Kshatriyas, militants, have rise of high family status, determining karma also. And the association of wealth, relatives, kith and kin, etc., is found particularly. Or the distresses of home state, etc., are known clearly. As a worm is generated in pieces, uh, similarly, this jiva is born in the womb, forming his body out of the union of sperm and ovum. There, the growth of knowledge, etc., and of body takes place gradually. The pain of staying in womb is extreme. There, one completes the period in the contracted form and procumbent state with hunger and thirst feeling, etc. When he comes out of the womb, then he suffers from great misery in childhood. Some people say that in childhood misery is less. It is not so. But due to weak power, it is not manifested. Afterwards, the miseries of indulging in business, etc., and satisfying the passional desires, etc., get manifested. The perturbation caused due to agreeable and disagreeable feelings continues persisting, and in old age he becomes languid, and then he becomes extremely unhappy. These miseries are evidently seen happening. What more should be stated? One who does not recognize the evidently happening miseries of human life, how would he like to listen to their description? Someone by chance meets the rise of somewhat sata, auspicious prakritis, that too is full of perturbance, and the ranks of the personages, like Tirthankaras, etc., are not attained without attaining the path of liberation. Thus, in human life, miseries alone exist. In human life, if someone wishes to make effort for self benefaction, then he can do so. For example, the root and the top insipid portions of a worm eaten sugar cane are not at all worth sucking, and the middle pieces, being worm eaten, are also not worth sucking. If someone greedy of taste spoils them, he is free to do so. But if those are sown, then many sugar canes will be produced out of them, and their taste will also be very sweet. Similarly, the childhood and old age of human life are not worth enjoying, and the middle age is full of diseases and distresses. Happiness cannot be there. If someone greedy of carnal pleasures spoils it, he is free to do so. But if it is used in observance of religious conduct, then he will attain a very high spiritual status. There, high degree of imperturbable happiness is found. Hence, here in this human birth, one should make effort for self benefaction and should not lose it in vain under the delusion of happiness. Ma'am, you're mute.
Yeah. So I was saying in humans, there are a lot of people who don't appear to be very passionate or जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना पाप type की प्रवृत्ति वाले, they're just simple, honest people, whatever. But yet they don't have the desire to understand who am I, right? So they are calm people. They don't probably create too much intense pap or punya karma.
but yet they have wasted this human life that they got, which is so rare. They happen to have that kind of karma uday where they can stay a little more equanimous. They're not as agitated. Then I mean, there are a lot of souls like that. Also, I mean, I used to be impressed by this one boss I had at one of my jobs who used to be quite okay, like this was like probably my first job or something. And when you're a new person, you make mistakes. And this guy used to never get upset. He was very kind of okay with things. Or he would tell me he had one of his kids got sick. Something happened. He had a lot of loan, and you would think he would, but he was always very calm. So I used to always praise, I would tell my husband that, oh, see, even though he's Christian and he eats meat or whatever, the normal, whatever, but he's so calm, he's so level-headed, whatever. And now when I go back and think about it, it's like, that was only his leisure. He happened to be in this leisure all the time, but inside he had so much of the uh, passion towards even life that he didn't even want to find out who am I. And he would be wasting this human life. And there is very countable people who are doing this, right? The rest of the world is just living mundane lives and going through life and done. And then who knows when they will be back in this. And it's like they give this example of 1 degree less fever is, yes, a little better than more from 105 to 103 feels better, but it's not getting rid of the disease. And people don't realize that. They have just some favorable circumstance, they're enjoying, their life is okay, mostly going okay, and people think that's great, they don't need to do anything. So we should feel uh, fortunate that whatever we did in our past lives somehow has brought us this interest at least. And we having that interest itself is a big deal. Then doing something about it and then working towards it. Because otherwise we would be just like everybody else, living our lives, doing jobs, eating, drinking, whatever, family attachments, and gone. Okay, so now the miseries of heaven.
Celestial beings.
Yeah.
Miseries of celestial beings. In the celestial state of existence, the power of knowledge, etc., is somewhat more than the others. They have false belief about the tattvas due to perverse faith. Their passions are somewhat feeble. The passions of the residential Bhavanvasi and the peripatetic Vyantar and the stellar Jyotishka orders of celestial beings are not very feeble, and their upyog or active consciousness is very fickle. They possess some power also, so they indulge in the acts of passions, keep engrossed in the frolicsome acts and carnal pleasures, and due to that restlessness, they are only happy. And heavenly gods, Vaimanikas, of higher and higher orders, have decreasingly less passion, and the power is increasingly more. Hence, due to decrease in restlessness, anguish also decreases. Here in the celestial beings, the anger and pride passions are found, but causes less. So the acts of those passions are not predominant. The lower class of devas, celestial beings, are found indulging in causing harm and humiliating others due to frolicsomeness, etc. But this type of behavior is found in lesser measure in the higher class of devas, Vaimanikas. It is not predominant, and the cause of deceit and greed passions are found there. That is why the acts of those passions are predominant. As such, the acts of deceiving, desiring the objects of sensual pleasures, etc., are chiefly found in them. These acts too are found in lesser measures in higher and higher devas. Further, the motivating causes of laughter, liking, quasi passions are found in greater measures. Hence, the acts of these passions are predominant, and the causes of disliking, sorrow, fear, disgust, quasi passions are less. Hence, the acts of these passions are not predominant. And the rise of female sex passion and male sex passion is also found, and the cause of dalliance is also present. So they enjoy copulation. These passions too are feeble in the higher and higher devas. The sexual desire is absent in the Ahamendra, self gods, due to feebleness of sex passion. In this way, the celestial beings too have passions, and anguish is caused by the passions only. And the degrees of passions in devas is of lesser measure. Accordingly, the degree of misery is also less. That is why they are said to be happy in comparison to others. In spiritual sense, the passions are alive, hence they are only unhappy. In Vedaniya cult, the rise of Sata Vedaniya is more. There also it is less in the three residential, peripatetic, and stellar classes of devas, and is found in increasingly greater measure in higher and higher Vemanic or heavenly gods. The association of favorite state of body, goddesses, wives, palaces, etc., is found there. And rarely, due to some reasons, somewhat rise of Asata Vednya is also found. It is found somewhat manifested also in the lower classes of devas, but it is not found manifested more apparently in the higher classes of devas. And the ayu, or lifetime, is very long. The minimum lifetime is 1,000 years and maximum is 31 sagas. Without attaining the right path of liberation, no one can have more ayu than this. So, for such a long period, they, the devas, remain engrossed in the carnal pleasures. And the rise of all punya, auspicious prakritis of name karma like Devgati, etc., is found there. Hence, are the causes of happiness. And in Gotra karma, there exists the rise of Ucha Gotra only. Hence, they hold respectable position. Thus, owing to the speciality of the rise of Punya karma, they possess the association of agreeable things, and due to rise of passions, the carnal desire is found. Therefore, they are found engrossed in enjoying them. But the desire is excessively more, therefore, they do not become happy. The higher class of devas possess the rise of highest degree of punya, auspicious karmas, and the passion is extremely feeble. Nevertheless, the absence of desire is not found in them also. Therefore, in spiritual sense, they are assuredly unhappy. In this way, everywhere in the world, only miseries and miseries are found. Here ends the description of miseries from the modifications point of view.
So this is again, in the celestial being, there's a lot of lob kashai. They want more and more and more, and they have lot of jealousy from the lower dev to the higher dev. And let's say you end up in heaven, but what if you become that hathi that has to give bride to the devs all the time, or the goddesses who have to please these gods all the time? So just because you made it to the heaven doesn't mean you're going to be happy. You can still be miserable. And even in heaven, the upper level, the Ahamendras and what is that called? The highest Vema, no, not Vemanic, the upper ones, they are passionless, where they don't even feel like coming down from their Shaya. They're sitting in one position, they don't even have any desires at all. So obviously the less the attachment, the more the sense of content or happiness. So the lower the devs, the more jealousy and all that they have. Which same thing applies, somewhat in human life too. The more the attachment, the more the raga, dvesh, the less the happiness, and the less of those passions, the more the even in the Gunsthan, as you increase, because the Charitra Moni Uday is there all the way till 11th, 12th Gunsthan. So as the rag reduces, the more the happiness level increases. So, okay, so what we will do is, if you want, I guess we can read a couple of these 3 more pages of the general miseries categories, and then we'll do the liberation and that in more detail in the next class. Okay, go ahead. Or Bahubali, do you want to read that?
Yeah. General characteristics of miseries. Now the general characteristics of all sorts of miseries are being described. The differentia of misery is perturbation, and the perturbation is caused by desire. 4 kinds of desires. Many kinds of desires are found in this mundane being. One type of desire is of enjoying the objects of senses, due to which one wants to know and see. For example, the desire of seeing color, listening to melody, knowing the unknown, etc. arises. No other pain is there, but so long as one does not know and see, he feels extremely perturbed. This type of desire is called carnal desire or Vishaya Icha.
So this is a very important topic, okay? See these 4 types of ichha and how our life revolves around it. So read that very careful and pay attention.
The second type of desire is of acting according to one's passionate emotions, due to which one wants to indulge in actions like that of harming others, humiliating others, etc. Here, no other pain is there, but so long as that work is not completed, he remains highly perturbed. This type of desire is called passionate desire, Kashaya Icha.
So see, even the desire that I want to humiliate somebody or do somebody is also so bad. And people actually have those kind of desires.
Yep.
And of course, the first one is very common. You all want to enjoy, so desires of all 5 senses. I want to travel, I want to be able to smell good perfumes, I want to be able to see different things, hear good music, all that is always prevalent.
The third type of desire is of removing those harmful causes which are met with either in the body or are external to the body owing to the rise of papa karmas. For example, on association of disease, ache, hunger, etc., the desire of removing these arises. So here one believes this only has to be the anguish. So long as it is not removed, he remains highly perturbed. This type of desire is called the rise up vice, papa. In this way, all jivas feel unhappy on the rise of these 3 types of desires. This is assuredly misery. The 4th type of desire is
basically you can understand these 3, right? Because if you have, if you're sick with your uday of pap karma, naturally you're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable if you don't get to enjoy any of the 5 senses related pleasures, right? Then you're going to be miserable when you want to harm others and you're not able to. So those are naturally 3 causes of miseries. But then what about if everything is going well? Then what do you want to do? So go ahead. Like, in the Uday of Punya Karma, things are going well for you. So then what happens? So let's read that.
The 4th type of desire is produced due to some external cause, because of which one desires to act according to above 3 types of desires. In these 3 types of desires, each type of desire has many varieties. The causes of satisfaction of many varieties of desires are met with due to the rise of punya karma. but their means are not met with simultaneously. That is why, leaving indulgence in one desire, he engages himself in other desire, and afterwards leaves this also and involves himself in another one. As someone has got different kinds of things, out of them he sees any one thing, leaving it, starts listening to melody, again leaves it only. After seeing one object, starts seeing some other object. Similarly, the desire of indulging in various types of activities arises. So this desire is called the rise of punya karma, virtue.
So
The
what
world,
happens? You have a good karma, Uday.
yeah,
You don't want to let go of whatever is available to you.
yeah,
So now you have all the five senses to enjoy. So you're seeing something nice, and then you want to hear something, you want to keep changing between those.
the
And
world believes, yeah,
yeah, go ahead. And you also want to maintain those status of what you got in your
yeah.
punya. So,
The world believes this to be happiness, but this is not happiness. This is misery only. Because, firstly, nobody gets the means of satisfying all sorts of desires. And if in some way the resources of fulfilling the desire are met with, then their availability is not simultaneous. So long as the means of satisfying one desire is not obtained, the perturbation due to the same continues. And after getting its means, at same time, the desire of getting the means of another desire arises. Then it causes perturbation. He does not remain unperturbed even for a single moment. Therefore, it is nothing but misery. Or he tries somewhat to eradicate the disease in the form of three kinds of desires, so the anguish gets somewhat reduced, but the misery is not fully removed. Therefore, it is nothing but misery. In this way, the mundane beings suffer from miseries in every respect. Further, it should be known here that the whole world is afflicted by these three types of desires. And the fourth type of desire is evolved on the rise of punya. And the bondage of punya is caused by engrossment in religious acts. But the jiva engages himself in religious acts only sometimes. Mostly jiva indulges in sinful acts. Therefore, the fourth type of desire is found in some jivas at some time only. It is to be remembered that from the point of view of jivas having similar desires, the jiva having the fourth type of desire is said to be happy, owing to the partial decrease in three types of desires. And in comparison to the jiva having four types of desire, the jiva having very intense desire, though found with four types of desire, is more miserable. Someone possesses a lot of wealth and desires it too much, then he is very much perturbed. And one who has got less wealth and his desire is also less, then he is less perturbed. Or someone, he got the association of disagreeable thing, but has less desire of removing it, then he is less agitated. And someone has the association of agreeable things, but he has more desire of enjoying them and of collecting various other things, then the jiva is more agitated. Therefore, it is to be known that happiness or misery are not dependent on external causes, but are governed by desire. It is stated that the infernal, hellish beings are unhappy and celestial beings are happy. This is also stated from the desire point of view, because the infernal beings have too much desire due to vehement passions, and the celestial beings have less desire due to feeble passions. Also, humans beings and subhuman beings, animals, birds, etc., are happy or unhappy on account of desires only. Owing to intense passions, one who has excessive desire is said to be unhappy, and owing to the mild passions, one who has less desire is said to be happy. Spiritually, the anguish only is either more or less, but there is no happiness. The celestial beings, etc., are also believed to be happy. This too is only fallacy. In them, the fourth desire predominates, so they are perturbed. Thus, the desire is caused due to wrong faith, wrong knowledge, and wrong conduct, incontinence. The desire is full of perturbation. Perturbation is nothing but misery. In this way, all mundane beings are assuredly suffering from different types of miseries.
Okay, very good. So this is very important part that I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but I have sometimes. You know, when you are young, you really desired for something. Uh, and all of a sudden you don't care for it anymore or you don't desire it. Do you feel the sense of satisfaction or kind of you're happy? Oh, I don't care for it. I don't desire that anymore. Have you guys ever experienced that?
Yeah,
When things
relieved
like,
actually. I feel relieved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I'll give you my example. There were times, long time ago now, I used to desire, and I guess maybe partly also because they were not as available here, pani puri.
Hmm.
So whenever I would go to India, oh my God, I had to, oh, just 1 second, I have to take this call real quick. Sorry, it was kind of important to take that call. Okay, so what I was explaining was that, okay, so I used to have this pani puri desire. The moment I reach India, I had to have it, and then like I would really miss it. Then slowly, for some reason, I don't desire it anymore. I mean, it's not like I don't like it as much, but somehow. And like you said, Bahubali ji, it's the relief that, oh, I'm not attached to it anymore. If I get it, wonderful, I like it. If I don't get it, it's fine too. So, so try to think. I mean, it happens to all of us somewhat. Like we desired certain things at some point and then we don't anymore. And that is a sense of relief or a sort of a happiness of that less dependency.
And it's sort of a good feeling. So, so something to think about, that how the desires are cause of miseries. Let's say if we don't desire vacations, you may still get to go because of your punya uday or whatever. But if you don't, it's not going to make you miserable. Or if something goes wrong, again, same thing, it won't make you. So desire is very directly related to the miseries.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we won't start the new topic now. It's okay, we'll end the class here, and some other time we'll make it a little longer class or extra class. Then.
Sure.
All right, I think we are doing good anyways. We're covering a lot because some of these topics are not needing much discussion or so that's why sometimes other times when we read less and end up spending a lot of the class in discussion, I don't mind. So there's always balance. Some days we get to read more, some days we get to discuss more. So it's okay. All right. Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup Sahajanandi Shuddha Swarupi Avinashi Hu Atma Swarup निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है वंदना शत बार है जय जिनेन्द्र सभी को
What is the page number? I mean, we're going to start.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, we should. In this book, it is. Just give me a minute.
Page 98, I think.
Yeah, that's right. We'll start 98. We'll start with bliss of liberation.
Okay.